What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003, and it has been over a decade since I've been so excited to be. The Detroit Pistons just released an update regarding Jaden Ivey's injury. So in this video, we are going to go through, talk about what that update says. We're going to talk about when and if he could potentially return to actual action for the NBA playoffs. And then towards the back half of the video, we're just going to talk about what that hypothetically might look like if he is able to rejoin the team and get back to being a part of the rotation to close out the year here in the playoffs. So first things first, we are going to read what this update actually says. This was posted from Pistons beat writer Omari Sankofa. It reads, Pistons guard Jaden Ivey continues to make progress in his recovery from a broken left fibula, which he suffered on January 1st against the Magic. He has been cleared for basketball activity and will now enter the beginning phase of a reconditioning progression along with a continued progression of court work. Ivey's status will be updated in another 2 weeks. So first thing to mention here is the Pistons medical staff has always been particularly vague with their updates. Some teams are a bit more out in the open with what they're anticipating, with what they're expecting. That is not the Pistons medical staff historically, and nothing changes here as this is intentionally very vague. The one thing that we do know for a fact is that we will receive an update in 2 weeks and that he is back to basketball activity, which does lead me to believe that they are potentially considering him returning at some point this season. I do personally feel like if there was no thoughts whatsoever of him getting back to the floor for the playoffs, there'd really be no need for them to bring him back to a reconditioning phase right now. At that point, I think that they would probably just rule him out for the rest of the season officially, which they have not done. So to kind of look here at the calendar and see what things are shaping up to be, we're going to pull this up and see that as of today, it is April 10th, a Thursday, and the first round of the NBA playoffs will start in exactly 9 days. Round 1 will begin on April 19th, a Saturday, and then we will receive that update regarding Jaden Ivey on the following Thursday, which will be April 24th, 2 weeks from today. So hypothetically speaking, round 1 will start on the 19th. Let's say we play game 1 on the first day of the playoffs on the 19th. Maybe we play game 2 on the 21st or 22nd. We can expect to get an update regarding Jaden Ivey for game 3, game 4. Do I think that there is a possibility that he could return in game 3 or game 4 of the first round? Well, definitely can't rule it out because the Pistons haven't. As I mentioned, if there was no thoughts whatsoever of Jaden Ivey returning, I don't see why the Pistons wouldn't just go ahead and rule him out for the remainder of the year, as most franchises do with players that they have no expectations of returning to the team. So it's impossible to say right now on when and if he will rejoin the team and actually be on the floor. But what we do know is it is possible as early as game 3 of the first round. Now, what we do need to do is talk about if this is a good idea from a chemistry perspective, from a rotation perspective, and talk about what type of impact he could have on the team and just the overall likelihood that he could positively impact a series in the playoffs. So to look back on what Jaden Ivey did before his injury, he played in 30 games, all in the calendar year of 2024, as he did get hurt on January 1st of 2025. In those 30 games, he averaged 17.5 points to go along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. He was shooting 46% from the floor and 41% from the three-point line, which was a career high in 29.9 minutes of action. Jaden Ivey started every single game for us, and he was our second leading scorer up until he got injured. A lot has changed with the Pistons since then. Number one, they have won more games. Now, some people who maybe don't watch the games or maybe don't have a great comprehension of what they are watching, if they do, might say, oh, well, the Pistons have been so much better without Jaden Ivey, or the net rating of the Pistons has gone up drastically since Jaden Ivey got hurt. I would say that is not a situation where that was the reason. The Pistons were trending in a good direction before Jaden Ivey got hurt. There was a stretch right around Christmas where the Pistons went on a West Coast trip and got some major wins. One against the Sacramento Kings, and Jaden Ivey hit the game-winning 4-point play to seal that game. So the Pistons were already starting to launch themselves into the position that they are in now with Jaden Ivey on the floor. It just so happened that it took a few months for everything to kind of sort itself out with this roster, considering where they were at last year, the new veterans they brought in, the new systems JB Bickerstaff was implementing. So I don't think at all Jaden Ivey going out with an injury was at all one of the main reasons why their record has been better since then. It's more of just a coincidence and speaks more to the progression of the team overall. And as I mentioned, they were already starting to play very good before Jaden Ivey got hurt. Another thing that has changed since then, the Pistons have added Dennis Schröder. Dennis Schröder has really stepped in and taken some of the role that Jaden Ivey was playing in since he's joined the team in February. So I do think that this will be a pretty odd situation if he was to return. But ultimately, I think that if possible, and he is actually ready, which is a call that only a medical staff can make, none of us, I think that it will be better to have him than not have him in the playoffs if he can return, just because not only is he a very good player, a dynamic player, hard to guard player, a potential mismatch problem, but he is also just an insurance policy. The Detroit Pistons guards as of today is really Cade, Dennis, and Sasser as far as guys on the roster who can slide in and play that point guard spot. And I would love to have Jaden Ivey in any capacity. And I think that the team is probably in a space where they know if he is able to come back and rejoin the team, it's not going to be one of those things where he is instantly just inserted back into the lineup and here is the 30 minutes you were receiving before you got injured. We know you haven't played in months, but all your minutes, here you go. Whatever happens, happens. I think that the conventional wisdom there would be to bring him back, give him chunks of minutes. If they're going well, expand on those. If they're not going well, no harm, no foul. Go back to what we've been doing, which is a rotation of point guard with Cade, Dennis, and a little bit of Sasser. So definitely not getting my hopes up that Jaden Ivey's going to come back and elevate this team to a whole nother level that we have not seen yet this season. But I am very optimistic that he could potentially be available, especially if they're able to make it through the first round into the second round. He could maybe come in and make a positive impact. I am a huge believer in Jaden Ivey's game, and if the medical staff says that he is good to go, I trust in Jaden Ivey's game that he will be able to show up and make a positive impact, whether that's in small bursts of minutes or maybe medium-sized bursts of minutes. I don't think there's a world where he shows up and is playing 40 minutes in playoff games right off the bat, but I would much rather have him than not have him. And I think that with this update, it gives us a chance that that could be a reality because, as I've mentioned, if there was no plans at all of bringing him back this year, they would just rule him out for the year. So I think that this might happen. Definitely not getting my hopes up, but overall, I'm happy to see that he is progressing well because at the end of the day, it was a scary thing when it happened, and worst case scenario, all signs are pointing to him being ready for next year. So let me know what you think, and we'll catch up soon.